Two words that warms the souls of whiskey drinkers around the world. Cask strength. Oh. Getting the band back together. Let's drink some whiskey. Welcome to Whiskey and Whiskey. I'm the Whiskey Chaser Brian, and on this show I review whiskey without kind of giving it an actual score, which is just me drinking whiskey, really. And Happy New Year, by the way, 2021. Let's hope it's a little bit better than, yeah, let's not even talk about that actually. I hope everybody had an enjoyable Christmas, New Year's with family and friends, and everybody stayed safe and did their part. Welcome back to Christy's Bar, the home of Whiskey and Whiskey. Been a couple of weeks. I pre-recorded the last couple of shows to take a little time off, recharge the batteries, I think is what they say. But we are back, and we're back with a bang, and I'm going to start with something brand new. Well, brand new to me, I suppose. It's been out since November here in Ireland and Europe. We're talking about Blue Spot, of course, the newest addition to the Spot range from Mitchells & Sons and Irish Distillers. It's been out since November. I wanted to do a video way back when this came out, and I said I wasn't going to do that. One or two reasons. First of all, there was a lot of hype and build up behind this release for Irish whiskey drinkers. There was, because for the last number of months, I've been hearing about this for the last 18 months that it was coming, and it was neither confirmed nor denied from any of the usual sources. So the build up was immense. We knew it was happening eventually in November. We didn't know exactly when, and it was dropped. And it was dropped to a resoundingly successful launch that sold out from the shops all across Ireland immediately, within a couple of days. And there was an awful lot of hype, as I said, behind it. It wasn't something that I wanted to rush into. I'd like to see people's opinions on it first. It just seemed a bit too hypey at the start for me. And here we are, the first one of 2021. I'm going to give it a try. We've let the dust settle a little bit. I think everybody's had a tipple. More people have gotten bottles. It's available on certain websites a lot more. And I believe it's rolling out in the States in the next few weeks. I actually saw a couple of posts online recently where it is available in the States. So if you do get a chance to get your hands on the bottle, or you're thinking about getting a bottle, listen up, let's go through it. So Mitchells & Sons, let's start at the very start. 1805, started out as a bakery and confectionery company in Dublin. And it wasn't until around 1885, 1887 that they began to actually go down the merchant route. And it was from having all the leftover casks from importing fortified wines. All the whiskeys in the Spot range have some type of fortified wine within them, or an integral part within them. The Blue Spot is no different. It was around, like as I said, the 1887 mark that they started getting into the merchant route. And what they would do was they would take their empty casks, they would go to John Jameson & Son on Bow Street, and they would get it filled with new make. Once they had it filled with new make spirit, they would bring it back and let them age in their cellars. The first kind of account of Green Spot, it was actually called Pat Whiskey before it was called Green Spot, and it wasn't called Green Spot first. So it went from Pat Whiskey to John Jameson & Son 10-year-old Green Seal, and then it became Green Spot. And back in the day, I believe that Green Spot used to be known as a 10-year-old whiskey. The Spot range gets its name, green, yellow, red, blue, from a dab of paint or a spot of paint that used to be given to the casks in the maturation stores of Mitchells & Son that would dictate the age of the cask. So green was 10, yellow 12, red 15, and blue 7. There's a deep history with Mitchells & Sons of using fortified wine casks for their whiskeys. Bit of useless information that the Green Spot whiskey was the only merchant whiskey to continue production throughout the incline, decline, and resurgence of Irish whiskey. It was never cancelled throughout history. It was continued to be made from start till now. Unlike some other brands that we've seen and other kind of merchants that we've seen that have, with the incline and then the decline, they were wiped out. This was continued to be made. So we're going to move on to the Blue Spot now. The last existing records of Blue Spot dates back to around 1964. So there's about a 56-year wait to get the entire family back together again. The 15 came out a couple of years ago, and then the 12 before that. I'm not even going to get into the Leoville Barton and the Chateau Montanella. Actually, that would make a great video. Watch this space. We might do a video on the 3 Green Spots and a bit of history 3. The Blue Spot was influenced by archives dating back to around the 1930s, which show the importation of Madeira casks into Ireland. Done a little bit of reading about it. There's no exact records to my knowledge, or this is what I read, that there was no exact records that Blue Spot used to use Madeira. But anyway, today's version it's a 7-year-old single pot still, non-chill filtered. It's a rolling ABV, so yearly this is going to change as a batch product. 58.7% ABV is this one. It has a minimum, the youngest whiskey in this is 7 years old, but it also has a 20-year component to it. There's 3 different types of maturation going on here, or 3 different types of casks used, right? So we have bourbon, Oloroso, and Madeira. These are aged in parallel for 7 years, and then they're vatted together. I'm not entirely sure of the vatting or the way that breaks down with a 20-year-old whiskey. That kind of information it wasn't something that I could actually readily find to be able to do this video. As I said, this will be a yearly continuance of this release, and it will vary in ABV. So for me, I would have always kind of tended to be a green spot drinker, and in particular, the Leoville Barton. I thought it was one of the, it's not that it's necessarily one of the best, everybody has their preference on that, but for me, it ticked every single box that I like in a pot still. It was sweet, it was spicy, it was well balanced, it was oily, it wasn't overly intrusive, it was easy drink, it was moresome, you would constantly come back to it. So when I saw the 7-year-old Blue Spot come online, to say I was excited would be an understatement. I couldn't wait to try it. So what we're not going to do here is we're not going to compare all 6 of these whiskeys. This is all about the Blue Spot today. Let's have a little taste and see, does the hype live up to it. Put it in, a nice healthy pour. Start the new year off right. Right, so it's in the glass. Okay. I've heard people talking about this quite a bit. I don't get that real bang of citrus fruits off it. It is there, but I'm getting more of a nutty, kind of caramelly nutty, almost an almond walnut roasted kind of nuttiness to it. I am getting the hints of the alcohol, the new make. You know, it's a minimum 7-year-old whiskey in it. It's still there. It is there. There's a nice kind of, a very hintish or kind of low amount of kind of strawberry. I would say that there's a sweetness, and to me, it's like kind of like a hint of strawberry. And then a very subtle hint in the background of pineapple, as well as some oak. So, you know, the exotic fruits are there, but it's not as prominent as I've heard some people go on about, more so the nuttiness. Yeah, it's nice though, it's nice. Now, there is a little bit of spice coming through in the nose. Not a bad thing, but one to watch out for if you are trying this. Don't put this straight up to your nose first off. All right, let's have a little bit of a sip. Sláinte. It's very fruity. It's incredibly spicy. It's oily. It's woody. It's a little bit nutty. For me, what actually does it, the finish now is just, I get all that spice. I'm still getting the spice and sweetness at the back of the tongue. A little bit of burniness going down. I've had this, obviously that is my bottle. I've been, you know, tipping away on this over Christmas for a little while. For me, I think it's a touch on the side of too spicy. It's nice, it's balanced out. The flavors are very full. It's very complex. It's a complex whiskey for that age statement. I find that spice to be a tad bit overwhelming for me. I don't like a very spicy whiskey. Now, in saying that, it's only really kind of spicy on the palate. The finish is beautiful. I'm getting a lovely warmth, a lovely nuttiness, a lovely sweetness all around the palate, which actually yields itself now to be quite pleasant. If you like spicy whiskey or you don't mind it, the initial spice of pot still whiskey, you'll love this. You will love this. The flavor is incredible. It's succulent, it's juicy. What else can I say about it? I've already said it's fruity, it's nutty. I think to the seasoned whiskey drinker, you could sit here for a long time and pull different aspects of that whiskey out of it. If I was to say a spice, I would say nearly like almost like a chili spice, if that makes sense. Not the bitterness from a chili spice, just the heat. More so, it's not a white pepper, it's not a peppercorn, it's not cinnamon, it's way more profound, it's in your face, it's there. Overall, look, I think It's a very flavorsome, it's a very Moorish whiskey. It fits into the entire lineup. It is the only cask strength in the lineup, which I'm delighted to see. I mean, the cask strength crusade and people pushing for cask strength whiskey is growing more and more and more in this country, in Ireland at least. You know, it's really just flavor that we're after, and the cask strength really brings it. That's no different. I like it. As I said, the spice would put me off a touch. I'd struggle to sit down now and drink a couple of glasses of that in, you know, drinking responsibly, of course. Fair play to the lads and everybody else who enjoys this. If you enjoy it, or you know, let me know what is your favorite in the spot range down below in the comments section. Is this something that you would drink? Have you tried it actually? And if you did, what did you think? Did you think the spice is a little bit too much? Did you get some more of those fruity notes out of it that people are talking about? For me, more so the nuttiness and a little bit of pineapple. Not major in that essence of it. Maybe it's just because it's early in the morning and haven't had a chance really to kind of sit with it and enjoy it as much as I'd like to. I do want to tell you about a new Facebook group that I have started in particular and only for fans of whiskey and whiskey. I'll leave a link down below. Do think about joining up. It's a very interactive group. It's about sharing information to a community of enthusiasts and people who just love whiskey and want to know and try more whiskey. So I'll leave a link to that down below in the description, and if you think about it, join up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. We'll get you more content. We're gonna sign off. I'll leave it to you. Next week, we've got a couple of plans in the line. I keep saying this, but it is true. You have to trust me. Lots of stuff coming, some really great whiskeys. We're gonna talk about maybe doing a set of the green spots, the Chateau Montanella, Leoville Barton, and the green spot, the original green spot. Until then, stay safe, mind yourselves, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Sláinte. What the fuck, man?